mido manditina ma wonda ma hajoni watolngol watino dangal ko gol tari hajoni.
And it is a criminal offense to lie on the oath in this country.
Te dungo bade bonde pour halugol halaka hebaki nder ni leydi te nde wonno hida wati.
It is also an offense to provide false testimony to the TRRC.
Ha joni kadi ko bade bonde kadi halugol halaka andanda ma ka hebaki yeso TRRC on.
Before the break,
do en yewde fawta gongol seeda,
you are telling the commission
the commission of wondema
how you came to know that Balo Kante was tortured.
Honno ari ha andirda wondema Balo Kante o piyama mate o wadama ko musi e ndor dum don place.
Mr. Witness, you said you were certain that Balo was tortured, correct?
Sede wiida wondema ananite no laabuma wondema Balo o piyama ba o wadama ko musi ka don ko nabano don.
Correct?
Hey.
Yes.
Thank you.
And you would agree with me that you can only have certainty in this case by saying it.
Te ajabana ila wondema ender dum do on ko andanda ma hino fati e sengo Balo kon no laabirta ma ko dum woni wondema hara hida tawa.
That's the case, isn't it?
Ko non dum wa indawana.
Just answer yes or no.
Utan ma ala no dum laabirta ma dan ko dum woni sida tawa.
You can only have certainty in this case if you saw it happen. Correct?
I don't know pos.
Yes, that will be clear to you.
And in your case, it was that clear to you because you saw it. True or false?
You see, to be able
out of curiosity.
To see something.
Out of curiosity, that's what it means.
Out of curiosity. I went there and I peeped and I saw.
And what did you see?
I saw Balo Kante being electrocuted.
By who?
And me wa anu tigi ko because min ko mi yogni ni dume oram sa ka arano ko mi yogni ni re bayti mi beton be mi beton min mi anda ko mi ko mabbe dal won beton because the yogni mi tam min jimi be min ko don mi yawtir mi.
I cannot say exactly who was doing the electrocution. I just came, peeped inside, I saw these people in there, then I decided to pass. I didn't spend any time there, but I peeped inside and I saw them. That's the time when they were electrocuting him, but I cannot say exactly who was doing the job on him.
Who were the people around him that you saw?
The people I named recently in the past.
Could you tell us again? Who are those people you saw around Balo Kante when he was being electrocuted?
You know, for the barina to one Baba Saho, Marina.
For the bari was there. For the bari was there plus Baba Saho and Daba Marina.
So, at least these are the people you know for certain who were torturing Balo Kante.
awa hino wa ini no laabe do be yimbe be halda do be woni yimbe be anda hino laabuma wonde makko be yimbe be anda ndama wonda wonno wadude baalo kande de bare woni wadu masaynobe mon kura wobbe hino wada mo tojjo woni no lappam.
Yes.
So when you told this commission that you assumed that Barlow Kante was tortured, that was just an excuse. You would accept that.
Gila wi unoda commissioner wondama mi awi wondama Barlow Kante ko Barlow Kante won watu hari hibe wada no mo tocho do woni hibe lappa ma hibe wada don ko musi awa joni hino wayni dum don ko hala ko andana wondama awa dirtini ka sengo.
Assumption or Miminoma is a very, very high assumption. I qualified it that way. Until I told you up to around 100%. Me no man one. So on assumption, I'm holding no my teeth gold makongol.
What I said before about the assumption was that I was 100% sure of what happened.
Mr. Witness, let us not argue over semantics. This is not an assumption, this is knowledge. The two are completely different. What you've just told us is first-hand knowledge of torture, Barlow Kante being tortured, and you even described the manner in which he was tortured. That was 100% knowledge.
Tigiri te ko halu no fo affaire no wala non jonde den don no be wari no don affaire fo dum fo hala ni be ko honno dum wa urno.
That is knowledge.
Donc ganda labungal dawana.
You agree?
Yes.
Good. So when you said it was an assumption, that was just one excuse to get you out of this.
We gonna say we wonder my emijo ma dum do misikita dum don ko sengo ganda na wonder ma dum don hida wawa yafe dum don ngoddo sengo.
You agree?
Ajabi.
Pona dumanin pour yafe gol. Because mi wadani ko boni.
No don ko wino ko dum woni
yi gongol ni pour wat gol assumption no. Wana wonde no ma averi fengol.
To say that it was an assumption is not part of that I was lying.
No, I was trying to extricate myself.
Not that I was trying to extricate myself.
But that is not exactly true. Your basis of knowledge was not an assumption, it was actual knowledge. That's the truth, isn't it?
Yes.
What is
That's what in full. That's what means yes.
Good. So it is actual knowledge. It is factual. It's not an assumption. Correct?
Yes, that's what you asked. I answered in the positive.
Because it's not an assumption. When you told us it was an assumption, that was not exactly correct.
Assumption emphasis mbomi wadi o dum ko hollunogal matan ko ni dum woniri pour ane horema joni nganda kono ayat an ka andira mi ala ni mako labi assumption mo nganta mako laptop ko mo nganta mi dum botini.
The assumption I mean is that something. The assumption I said is something that you have seen, that you have faced, something that is quite clear to you, that is obvious to you. So that's the type of assumption I mean.
In fact, Mr. Witness, you have just described the direct opposite of an assumption.
I said on Nini Sao, Holido and the Maduani Wiggle on the assumption on Noyari non, I hold a Sango.
And don't push me to call it by what it is. What you said initially was a lie.
What a Dunyang Mihala Halakano,
it was a simple lie. Let's call it by its proper name.
Not then after no yard, no direct independent ticket no for no direct.
When you said you did not go there, you did not see it, you did not know who was there, You lied.
Nunga hali ka handa na ka hebaki.
No, now I got to me anima dumdik. Me anima one day me anda kontoton.
I didn't say I don't know who was there.
You said you did not see it.
Abi wanda ma iyani.
Yes.
You did not say, you told us you did not know who was dealing with him. You only know that these were the supervisors in charge.
Abi wanda ma andano ko hombo wondu no gertu e makotonga. Abi ta wanda ma be ko be haldado men ko be wonno yeso bendon.
You only heard the cries from a distance, but you did not see anything.
Anani luka gongo harda wodino kono anda ko hondo wonno hombo wonno ton.
All that was a lie.
Ko hala ka anda na ka hebanoki.
Luka me halni ma ko hombo luka no didi.
Well, I said I said who was screaming.
Mr. Witness, don't make it unnecessarily complicated.
Okay?
And don't play games with the commission. If you do that, you just making it more difficult, and it's not necessary. You know for certain that what you said previously was not true. It's completely different from what you are saying now. That is it. You agree?
There is a little difference.
Yes.
Are you serious?
What do you call him sexy? So
okay. Maybe what I should do is to send the matter to the chair. Let the chair deal with it. If you answer the questions, we move. Listen. We have to listen to each other. If you answer the questions truthfully, we move on. If you don't answer the questions, we would stay on the issue until we get the correct answer. You don't want things to be called by their proper or precise names. The commission does not want to leave things to ambiguity. The commission we want to get to the truth, to the details. And I'll give you another chance. And answer the question truthfully. You previously told us that you did not know that this guy was being tortured. You only have a high degree of suspicion that he was tortured. So you assumed he was tortured. That is what you told us before, correct? That is what you told us before.
So, ko mbawa mi halan ontuma fo hejoni ko kalanan mami ko joni ko dum jidi jetta.
Council, what I said before and what I'm saying now is quite clear. If you like, you take it.
No, that is not what I said. Then you don't have to misinterpret me.
No, say what you say now.
No, what I am saying is whatever I tell you before.
Allow.
Wait. No, maybe. Whatever I tell you before, you take what I am telling you now. This is what I have said.
Okay, good.
You take what I am telling you now.
Okay. What you are? Which one is the truth?
What I tell you now.
Good. So if the one you're telling me now is the truth, so we should also assume, like you did, that the one you told us before is a lie.
It
was not full.
It was not full what?
Yes. No, I'm not saying full. It was not the full fact.
It was, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So it was half truth.
Pass this one. Half truth, full truth. Now I'm telling you, take what I tell you. I think it's better we progress, Council.
You don't want that tag, I lied before. You don't want that. You don't want that tag, that label I lied before. So we would progress. Everybody can draw their conclusions.
Joni hino wa ni awa joni afala kan goddo sen gal wi de wonda ko halno da kon folo dum ko fenade joni awa fo joni en nyaawa ne hoore men.
And torture
woni tappede ma wadede ko muusi
was such a norm at the NIA, wasn't it?
ko bade de andandama wondema ko wowunode wadde ton NIA ndawana gonga.
It happened frequently.
Te waɗayno wattuji fof waɗayno ton ɗum waɗayno ton.
Wattuji fof.
Every time.
Wattuji fof.
Not every time.
Ada ala ko halanda. Now iwadde.
They used to do it.
Now iwadde they used to do it. It used to happen. That's what I said.
It used to happen. They used to do it. What is the difference?
It used to happen.
Well, it doesn't happen by itself, does it?
Huh? That's what you asked. You said whether it used to happen. I said it used to happen. You said whether it used to happen. I said it used to happen. It's a direct answer to your question.
Yes. Okay. The NIA officers used to carry out torture in that premises.
Yes, they used to do it.
The 2006 victims who were brought to the NIA, they too were mercilessly tortured.
2006
That is the Omar Cham coup.
Because that's
true. That's true. Even some members of our leadership were involved. 3 to 4 of them were beaten.
I say 4 to 5.
4 to 5 were beaten.
Who? Give us the names.
Daba Marena, the Director General.
Daba Marena.
Aliu Singate.
Aliu Singate.
Musa Diba.
Musa Diba.
Kemo Balajo.
Kemo Balajo. If I can remember properly, these are the people.
4. You named 4. Daba Marena, Aliu Singate, Musa Diba, and Kemo Balajo. And this was the former DG and senior management of the NIA. How did you come to know that they were tortured?
This is something that many of us became aware of it. A lot of us at the place came to know about what happened to them. But at that time, I was not there.
Yes, you are working at NAWEC, but you know for certain that these people were tortured.
Yes.
Well, but you would also agree with me that even former or serving NIA agents were not spared from torture once serious allegations were made against them.
Kala neɗɗo e maɓɓe mi andana wondema ɓe soɓɓitike ma goɗɗum goo anga wona e neɗɗo ma andana wondema awa fuudotako wondema e ngal ɗo ɗe pigge ɗe ɓe watta no ma baɗe muusɗe ɓe watta ɓe ɗon ton.
Eyi ko gonga ɓayti ɗum waɗi.
Yes, that's true because it happened.
You've mentioned these 4, but not only these 4, other senior NIA officers were tortured. For instance, Abdullahi Kujabi.
Ɓe yimɓe nayo ɓe haalɗa ɗo men fof na ɓeɗo taw woni yeeso ɓe andana ɓe naatino e ɗe ɓitte wiyete ɗo yeesojo goɗɗo kan no to wiyete Abdoulaye Kujabi on kadi naatino e ɓitte ɗen.
Aɗani on ta on tuma wona toon o gollal ta o riwama ko ɗum taki mi innani mbo.
But at that time
no te kadi ne ta mi yejiti kulle makko.
At that time he was not working with the institution. At that time he has already been dismissed. So this is why in fact I forgot about him.
Yes, but he's a former Director General
of the
NIA. And he was tortured at the NIA.
Yes.
Ngor Seka?
Ngor Seka, no?
Ngor Seka, yes.
Yes, Ngor Seka also. Yes.
So, and the list would go on and on and on.
Oh, kono yarata yara yimbe ben kono yarata yimbe dudu be bokkuno e mum.
You agree?
Yes.
Ajabi.
Yes, I agree.
What do you say would happen if an individual was alleged to have done something that threatened Yaya Jammeh's government?
We are live in Banjul, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is JATI's weekday news at 1300 hours. In the headlines, after surging cases of transmissible variant, JATIS looks at what seems like a second wave of COVID-19 towards the Gambia. Department of Women's Bureau wraps up a 3-day training on child protection and gender-based violence. Exploring the impact of rural-urban migration, our reporter journey to the North Bank community of Yalalba to find out how women struggle to access basic services. In the internationals, Senegalese President Macky Sall announces a new state of emergency in the country alongside 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew in the cities of Dakar and Chess, where COVID-19 cases are prominent. Elsewhere, Indonesian search teams locate the flight recorder of a passenger plane that crashed into the Java Sea on Saturday. Well, viewers, this and much more coming ahead in the news with me, Aminata E. Sanya. A warm welcome to JATI's News once again. My name is Aminata E. Sanyang. We begin this edition of the news with a close look at what seems like a second wave of COVID-19 edging fast towards the Gambia. The fight to curb the deadly coronavirus continues with increased hopes and optimism in the wake of several vaccines that have been widely given approval. But there is a growing concern of a potential outbreak with significant public disregard for precautionary measures advised by health authorities to contain the pandemic. JATI's Ibrahim Ajalo finds out what people think about safety regulations in the face of a highly transmissible COVID-19 variant.
It is a new year filled with reflections on memories of a difficult year 2020, which saw the world battling one of the worst ever health crises. Health experts warn that the COVID is still around and that observing the safety measures remains a matter of personal and national importance. However, public reactions to the COVID regulations are seemingly guided by different perceptions and awareness levels, leading to a significant drop in compliance. Face masks and physical distancing are rarely observed.
I think lack of awareness plays a big role because when the cases started relaxing, people would think actually this is coming to an end. But unless the health authorities come out and tell us plain that, okay, Gambia is COVID-free, we cannot just say, okay, the Gambia is COVID-free and do what we want to do. And there was a slack in the enforcement of all of these rules. So I think one side, Ministry of Health should come out plain and start to, all the sensitizations they were doing, they should bring back all of them. And then the police and all the other authorities should just try to reinforce all of these policies again.
Protection is better than cure. So we have to protect ourselves. It has been ordered by the World Health Organization. So to me, having these face masks is a very important thing.
Although many believe that the virus prevails in the Gambia and has already killed dozens in the country and millions around the world, the public appears to be less concerned of recent.
Now that the borders are open, everybody is prone to the virus. if you are in public gathering, you may not know who is infected. Well, for me, I wear the face mask when I'm in public gathering, but if I'm alone, I don't wear it, to be honest.
The virus affects people's life and livelihood. The infection rate went down, but now it is said to be rising again, so people should protect themselves from it. Face masks and physical distancing are mostly observed during official gatherings and in service institutions. Meanwhile, the Gambia government is continuing the fight against the deadly virus, as Europe, America, and other parts of Africa are being hit by a second wave of the virus. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News. It is a new year filled with reflections on memories of a difficult year 2020, which saw the world battling one of the worst ever health crises. Health experts warn that the COVID is still around and that observing the safety measures remains a matter of personal and national importance. However, public reactions to the COVID regulations are seemingly guided by different perceptions and awareness levels, leading to a significant drop in compliance. Face masks and physical distancing are rarely observed.
I think lack of awareness plays a big role because in the beginning,
Women's Bureau under the Ministry of Gender Affairs wrapped up a 3-day training for members of the Network of Gender Journalists for Women in Cultural Advancement. As our Khadijatu Joara reports, participants were trained on child protection and gender-based violence.
The 3-day forum funded by UNICEF and Ministry of Gender Affairs aimed to deepen the skills of journalists on matters affecting women and children. Women's Bureau Assistant Director of Information, Education and Communication, Nene Toure, outlined the importance of the synergy.
Yeah, the 3 days capacity building program for journalists is very important because as journalists, they need to be equipped, they need to be provided with information to be able to disseminate the information. And that's why as part of the trainings, we have media ethics, we have reporting, responsible journalism. We also train them on issues. Because if you want people to do advocacy on issues, they need to be provided with adequate information. Adequate information and relevant information is very important if we really want to address issues.
Trainer on health promotion, Alassane Jite, said the training would equip journalists with knowledge and skills to carefully report child protection matters and gender-based violence.
There were a lot of important issues that we discussed with regards to ethical journalism, because we know many people in the Gambia actually get into the field of journalism, but they don't actually mean to be in there. So because that now they are equipped with relevant knowledge, skills, and then the ability, so the motivation will just come in for them to ensure that they report on the issues of gender-based violence happening in our communities. So now that the journalists are equipped with this knowledge, we really expect to see more cases, reportings coming out. And even some pending cases that are happening in the court system, I hope they will make a follow-up publications around those areas to trigger the people, stakeholders responsible for those judgments to come out openly and share those informations with us.
Jite promised of his continuous partnership in advancing ethical values of journalism in reporting issues related to gender-based violence. The President Network of Gender Journalists for Women and Cultural Advancement, Pate Balde, and Sainabu Jawara of Taxi FM commended Women's Bureau and partners for organizing the training.
So these ongoing trainings are really helping and capacitating our members in order to equip them with the knowledge and skills of writing, and also where they will also be trained on ethical journalism, reporting and responsibility, as well as code of conduct of journalists. So the training, and it also tells you, journalists are also trained on some of the domestic violence and this culture of silence that is affecting a lot of people in our society.
The outcome of the training is expected to help journalists to raise awareness on child protection and gender-based violence. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadija Tujuara.
Moving on, a local organization called Point Click held a day's activity called Who is Who in Tech in the Diaspora 2.0. The event, which brought together experts and entrepreneurs from all walks of life, was held in Fajara. We have details in this report.
This is the second edition of Who is Who in Tech in the Diaspora. This is an initiative that brings together tech experts home and abroad to share tech ideas and projects.
We decided to form Innovate Gambia, and what it is something that we're trying to do to help revitalize the country by providing what we have learned in the US or in other places and our experience, and seeing how we can also have an impact in helping other people grow. Because for me, the definition of leadership is leadership or being successful. If you cannot help other people succeed, I'm sorry, man, to me, you're not successful. That is, for me, that's the definition of successful. Somebody that succeeds and see other people below them, lends a hand and say, come on, we'll help you. And we're doing this not just locally, but also, globally.
Also held virtually for Gambians in the diaspora. Young tech experts and entrepreneurs took turns to share ideas they've pioneered over the years.
I had the opportunity to be around people who actually think through this or do research in this area, and then learn from them challenged me to be out of my comfort zone, to learn and also be able to marry that with real world business problems. And also I think another opportunity is just working in a global team with a global network of people. Like, I have the good fortune to work in a team that is globally connected, so I have colleagues that sit in South America or over in Europe or Asia Pacific. So learning from different cultures is a very, very good opportunity that I think Microsoft enabled me with.
Sharing the structure of the IT space in the Gambia, Brandon Dejeline unveiled the challenges the IT community is faced with.
At the heart of every ecosystem, there has to be an association, a representation of the technology companies in the industry. And why is that important? It's important because, one, you need a voice, a unified voice that can speak for the tech ecosystem. We all work in different facets of tech. You have the programmers, you have the network engineers, you have the ecosystem enablers, you have the hubs. I mean, it's all over, right? But that association is that one focal point that's able to speak on behalf of the ISPs, on behalf of the startups, on behalf of the students that are studying under the ICT umbrella, on behalf of professionals that are in the industry.
This is an era where young Gambian entrepreneurs are utilizing on technology to grow their businesses. Point Click pioneered this initiative to bring about significant change in the lives of Gambians, especially for young people. Aminat Is Hanyang, GRTS.
Now, as part of our Special Rural Series reporting on grassroots communities, our correspondent in the North Bank region recently traveled to the community of Yalalba in Sabah Sanjau district to examine access to basic amenities in one of Gambia's oldest Fulani settlement. Elders in the village explained that several other Fulani villages in present-day Senegal have roots in Yalalba. Life in the village can also be tedious. Most of its youth folk migrated to urban centers, leaving the settlement in the hands of few women and the elderly. Women in the village lack access to basic services to earn a decent living, with the absence of feeder roads and vegetable gardens, joining a long list of needs that continue to challenge life in Yalalba. From Kerawan, Farmer Kanye tells us more.
15 minutes drive from the town of Farafene is the village of Yalalba, one of the oldest Fulani settlements known to the Gambia. The village holds the Yalal Fulbe, a class of Fulani herdsmen and travelers whose ancestry are believed to have migrated from Masina, an area of lakes and flood plains in the semi-arid Sahel area of central Mali. The village has its own story, protected and preserved for the younger generation. Jargaba is the village head. He gave us a glimpse into their origin. Our ancestor Walum is the founder of Yalalba. He migrated with his brother who settled in Yalal Tankonjala. But others went to Sare Katim, Sare Gallo, and you name them. All the fullest around here, up to Kaulak, are all migrants from Yalalba. Like most of his fellows in the village, they have lived in this part of the Gambia all their lives, farming and rearing animals as their major trades. He is of course living with dreams, one of which is the electrification of Yalal someday. Now that his hair is turning grey, will this great dream of his come true during his time? To have access to water, electricity, and support to our farms because we are farmers. We want our youths to be supported too in the business sector so that they can stay in Yalal. If they are supported, a lot will change for them. Domestic sustenance in Yalal is a struggle for both men and women. But for the women folk, the challenge is hard in the absence of opportunities. This woman is a member of the Village Development Committee, a representative of her category in the decision-making process of the village.
We need support because our challenges as a society are numerous. We have no good feeder road, no garden, and our children are going to school. Our everyday efforts and hardship are all meant to support our families.
The total earning of a housewife in the village on average is less than $10 every month.
400. Sometimes I make $300 to $400 in a month because I'm not employed. Sometimes it's hard to make anything the whole month.
The women argue that lack of a vegetable garden and good roads are some major impediments to their economic progress. The Yalalba Association, a homegrown youth wing, is also working towards addressing migration and illiteracy in the community.
We also have a shop, a consumer shop that we built in the village here that is also responsible for, so that it will help the people, especially the women, so that they will not go out to buy just small things, so that they will walk up to Farafenni or they even cross the border to Senegal. So that shop has really helped us, especially in the aspect of the women, the young ones and the old ones.
The village is widely affected by migration, such as rural-urban drift. Most of its youths have migrated in search of better opportunities. For the news, I am Famarakani.
15 minutes. Let's now head to the Cumbernav, where over $500,000 in marks and boarding school was recently inaugurated in Daranka village as part of efforts to propagate Islamic teachings and access to quality education. GRTC's Majain Barrow witnessed the inauguration ceremony and he filed in this report.
Zahra Al-Asri Mosque, an Islamic boarding school, is funded by an 85-year-old woman in Saudi Arabia called Zahra Bintu Kaye Al-Asri. The project costs $800,000. To the project coordinator, Arafat Al-Hassan Suso, the initiative came due to the lack of a standard mosque and Islamic school in the area. He further thanked the Sisekunda family for providing the land.
Mox was very far from this area before, and that is what motivated me to bring this project here. We intend to start welcoming students to the school this week.
The people of the community, especially the elders, including Muhammad Lamin Sise, Seh Fafa Kuyate, and Omar Baji, all thanked the sponsor and project coordinator for bringing such development to the area. To the women representative, Fatu Sanyang and Aramata Koli, both applauded Zahra for the support.
It started from a small mosque and now to a big one and school. I will urge parents to send their children to come and study here as to better propagate the Islamic faith. I am very happy to see a woman build such an Islamic boarding school and mosque. It makes me so happy as a woman.
Imam Suleiman Bojang leads the Friday prayers with a powerful sermon. He described the mosque as the house of God and a place for every Muslim to reconnect with his Creator. At the climax of the inauguration ceremony, a woman was converted to Islam, with the Imam leading the Friday congregational prayers. Majan Baro for GRTS News.
Well, we will take a break now. When we return, we will look at news beyond our borders. Stay tuned.
Yes, all.
Welcome back. In the internationals, Senegalese President Macky Sall has announced a new state of emergency in the country alongside 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. curfew in the cities of Dakar and Thiès, where COVID-19 cases are prominent. As CGTN reports, the move aims at controlling rising coronavirus infections in the West African nation.
The new measures come just 6 months after a first state of emergency that was lifted in an attempt to bolster Senegal's economy, which was hit hard by movement restrictions.
This is a grave hour. On the recommendation of the medical corps, I have decided to declare a state of emergency in 2 regions.
The president says a COVID-19 vaccination strategy is urgently needed to further protect the Senegal's population.
A national vaccination strategy will be proposed as soon as possible. It will give priority to medical staff in certain target groups that require the greatest attention.
The government has warned against public fatigue with the anti-COVID-19 measures, which include wearing of face masks in public areas and a ban on gatherings, among others, saying that all this could be the root of the resurgence of the pandemic in Senegal. Enoxycolia, CGTN.
Elsewhere, Indonesian search teams have located the flight recorder of a passenger plane that crashed into the Java Sea on Saturday. 62 people were on board. Authorities hope the black box data will clarify why the plane came down only minutes after taking off from Jakarta. More in this report.
Looking for clues to make sense of tragedy, Indonesian search and rescue teams sought through debris found by divers in the Java Sea. Body parts and children's clothes were among the first items retrieved from the water. Divers also located the plane's black box recorder, confirming the debris is from the missing Boeing 737-500. Still hoping for unlikely good news, the relatives of the 62 people on board meet with authorities, where they hand over DNA to help identify potential victims. I know 4 people on the plane. The wife lives in Bekasi, while her husband lives and works here. So his wife and 3 children planned to visit and holiday here in Pontianak, but it ended like this. The Sriwijaya air flight left Jakarta Airport on Saturday, bound for a 90-minute journey to Pontianak. But it lost contact only minutes after takeoff. Data from online service Flight Radar 24 shows the plane suddenly losing altitude and speed. Boats will continue to search the ocean as authorities try to piece together what happened to flight SJ182.
Joining us now from Jakarta for more on this developing story is journalist Kresna Astra Atmaja. Hi, Kresna. Tell me, what's the latest on what happened to this flight and what might have led to the crash?
It was reported that the locator signal has been detected by one of the ship, especially since we know that today one of the ship is the underwater survey ship equipped with the sonar detection. So, but it could be the signal from the Sriwijaya Air in the accident. Although that the main wreckage has not been found, but the diver has been deployed and more debris has been found. And some of them is a small part of the fuselage, which is have the airline's color, which is blue and red color. So other thing is some of the body part has been found and it has been sent to the morgue in the Jakarta hospital for identification. The immediate family of the victims also has been asked to go to the hospital for DNA identification.
This was a Sriwijaya Air flight. Has this airline had any safety issues in the past?
For the last 10 years, Sriwijaya Air has no safety. It has good safety records. There is no known major accident during the last 10 years, except only minor accident without fatalities. So this is the first time that the Sriwijaya Air has the fatal accident.
Do we know more about the passengers? You said that families were bringing in DNA samples into hospitals to identify body parts that are being found right now in the Java Sea.
Yeah, until now there is no confirmed identification yet, but some body parts have been sent there for identification. I think it's still too early, and then it needs some more days to have the DNA match.
Well, that does it for the news, but a quick recap of our top stories before we take leave of you. After surging cases of transmissible variant, JATS looked at what seems like a second wave of COVID-19 towards the Gambia. The Department of Women's Bureau wrapped up a 3-day training on child protection and gender-based violence. Exploring the impact of rural-urban migration, our reporter journeyed to the North Bank community of Yalalba to find out how women struggle to access basic services. In the internationals, Senegalese President Macky Sall has announced a new state of emergency in the country alongside 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew in the cities of Dakar and Thiès, where COVID-19 cases are prominent. Elsewhere, Indonesian search teams have located the flight recorder of a passenger plane that crashed into the Java Sea on Saturday. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the JATS Weekday News. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with JATS and enjoy the rest of our programs.
But what happened later was that it was later discovered that Silaba Samate has absconded. And after that, the person who stood or who bailed him was was his sister, either a younger or elder sister. That was the person who they later on arrested.
Because onto my office of the president, na lobby na windi office ameno na bebia ko hono odo woni ta witness. So dum holli ka onto ma sande ka ya jame wanda sa odo ko Silaba ko bechado o wada send. Na ma windi office ameno wada query wonde ko take fere Silaba na wona witness.
And in fact, the president himself was angry about this. And he even went to the extent of writing to us, saying that how can Silaba become a witness in this matter?
I say office of the president.
Office of the president, yes. That's where the letter came from,
yes.
Saying that how can Silaba become a witness?
The only letter are when be mean yomi jabombo, mimbe mean jabo kon jabo to miton, wande no ma komi lamdo to be minen report be min nolde be hoto on woni.
What they said was that, let me answer that letter. Then I said to them, then where is the report which concerns this matter?
In response, I told them that if I am to respond to this letter, I am going to question about the report that we sent. Where it is.
If they want me to write a report to answer that letter, then I will request for the report that was written about this matter. I will request for that report.
Ontumanon wani dum welani be benjahi min wopi be don mihi ontumanon deka DPP and bindi on affidavit ha e pari be no dikam office makoto.
Then when I said that to them, I left them there, I went. On the whole, they were very angry about me. Then that was the time when the DPP wrote about this order affidavit about me, against me, and when the DPP, wasn't it the DPP who wrote?
No, they wrote an affidavit to say that Silaba was not found wanting before, but now that evidence have emerged that he is associated with somebody, so he is a subject, so that they can now get the sortie to continue the case. So when I went to the DPP and saw this letter, this affidavit, I told them this is not true because I'm not going to sign it. It's not true. I insisted. On tomorrow, the me to be colleague on affidavit. Me no bodo jogi sa copy on me jogaki mo kono me to jogi golo. Me salidum bimbe wonde no dum do mi watatum sign because ko fenade wona gonga.
When I was called to the DPP's office, I refused to sign that document because I told them it is not true. This is why I refused to sign that document.
On tomorrow, benje hindega. Bembechi hala amka bembati umno like commune we bitedo binta samura on koton oligoto ko legal clerk on tuma.
Then they changed my words and wrote something else. Somebody called Binta Samura, who was a clerk working at that place, kodum bewadi on.
On tuma on owindi affidavit pour holli rawande noma commune ari office makoto be pare holli mo wande noma dum do ko ni hen ni dum lelori ko enjino ko mi hala. Mi hale accord Johnny mbindiri dum no way no ni commune Mary Binta Samura pour owinta dum he inde am on tuma be nabadum.
What happened was that a clerk working there called Binta Samura wrote something which they wanted me to write, which I refused to do initially. So Binta Samura wrote that, and then it was then taken to these guys, and that's what they used. They are saying that it was me who wrote that or who said the words written on that document.
What I want to say here is, it is Binta Samura. The document now is changed as if I am the one who went to Binta Samura and then explained to her to write on my behalf the affidavit, the way it is. I even have a copy of it, which I would want to.
We would come to that.
Okay. So when this happened, they wrote it like that and then sent it. One day, I heard in the court that a document is presented there stating that Omar Cham, then I heard of that. I said, look, what is this? I tried to get a copy of the document from the court because it's
Johnny, what I need.
When I had that at the court,
Nyawore minani be mi wonde na to nyawore to naton wi wonde na min mido windi kayit pour holli gol wonde na ma silaba ni heni.
Fadu, I heard this from the court that I wrote the document saying about Silaba did this and this and this.
Mi ontuma mi odo ono vite bom janke horma ko ta ontuma munanga office amen.
That time, Janke was already arrested and was at our office, detained at our office at the time.
Makoy hore mako alando anda kam mi ari ha mi lamni mo pour ondo hombo dum makone hombo wi on e bembi ko bitedo o makam yehi wi ton nangam he nangam so jonnon gandu mi koko hebi ndeka on tuma no mi yehi mi wadi try ha mi hebi copy of the affidavit from the court.
Okay, then that was the time when I went to Janke. Because she doesn't know me, I asked her, and then she explained to me that it was said that I was the person who wrote this document. Then I tried by all means to lay hands on this document so that I can have it myself in fact, to help myself. So this is the time when I got hold of the document. Then I took this document to Binta, and I asked her, well, did I say these things or did I tell you to write this? Then she said no. Then I asked her, then who told you to write this? She said her bosses, Richard Chenge and Mikhail Abdullah, are the people who told her to write it. I was very angry, but when after looking at the whole thing, she's a young person who is who recently came into the job. So when I looked at things, I left it like that. Major Bojang on ko Badanodo post at the Ministry of Justice. At that time, I went back to our office on the whole Major Bojang, who was attached to the Ministry of Justice. The boss the Director General, when you go and the Ministry of Justice had at that show. Then when I went to my boss Numo Kujabi, that was the time he told me that. On the whole, you went to the Minister of Justice and started something like quarrel there. Because on Jaho Nimbindira, the Kotaki on guide Gilalau, Mivinoma, Wandenoma Mimi Watadum, Monadum Gonga, Kotaki Anne Horema, Awambo at sign, Walla Kotaki Ministry of Justice for I go to Alaton Badambo sign, come in. Then when he told me that, I told him, well, I did this because I was accused of writing a document which I didn't do. Why didn't you sign it yourself or somebody else with your caliber who should have signed this? I didn't do it. And I'm accused now that I am the person who did this. So this is my reason for being angry about what was done.
As a result of that, what did you decide to do?
Antuma when you come Vindiko, mi windi office ameno e koyamabe. Be parende mi windi be, mi wadi copy domanin mi wadi copy Minister of Justice, Solicitor General, Chief Justice, Director of Public Prosecution, Deputy or Justice Amadi, because on jogging case Jesus eno. Okay, fine. That was the time when I also decided to write my own version of what happened. I decided to send a copy of the letter to my boss himself, Minister of Justice, and to the CG, Chief Justice himself, and EPP, and the DPP, and his deputy, Justice Amadi, and Justice Amadi, who was responsible for the case, and Binta Samura herself. And the JP who, decided to authenticate something that she doesn't know.
So you explain the story as to how that affidavit came to the court.
I did that, I said that, and I even told them that if they call me to the court about this case, I will tell all of them that it is a lie, it is not true.
And what eventually happened to that case against Jesus?
Johnny on case, Jesus no no case on Kasakito.
Case owa continue because no why the continue rek kosimi jabi no yagol pour mi wala dum do.
The case, they were unable to continue the case because what they hoped was that I will go and agree with them. But when I refused, they cannot continue with the case.
So what happened to that particular case?
Johnny on case on tigiri honno sakori honno sakidori.
So mi fogi what in o hempina katon and ita mana ko ita kono hempina o kontinani.
The case was unable to go further. I don't know what happened to him later, but the case was unable to go ahead.
Of course, he was later charged with another case concerning Ramses and others.
Kono no ini yeso kadi be tekuno case go hora maka kadi mwana na wanda hino tawa Ramses kanyum mo go be go.
But we would come to that.
En aroye don kono.
But you told us earlier that They were angry with Jesus.
Esa Baji. Wida imbe wanda bao no wanda ma Jesus. Urwani Esa Baji. Hikobe hibe loba no ma.
Yes. Dum sa ndaction ni matan ayi at dum hen because suna dum den hokotaki had aida modine wala hokaita hada no because min ko dum min dare mi chegi wonde no saya hebini ba anden ko angan gu woni don kono wana gonga be ngoni.
Yes, if you look at the whole case, they were angry with him. But if there was no truth in what was taking place and what was happening. It was just a fabrication. That's what they were doing.
Okay. You refused to participate in that fabrication against Jesus, correct?
Asalike wanda mapurutawede kan hala duwani yubingol kan hala kana ka hebake do Jesus.
That's what you
said. Jesus stand because wana makoran.
Yes, it was not only Jesus.
Kulute.
Kulute also.
Masekabai.
And Sekabai, they were all in the same case.
Kelute Mane, is it?
Kulute Mane, Dawana.
Yes.
And the other person is Sekabai.
I don't know his. I forgot him.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's Mamatar Seka or something.
Okay, Mamatar Seka, yes. So this was the first case against Jesus.
Oh, no case either on Jesus.
But even in that case,
the
panel in which you are a member, did it recommend charges against Esa Baji?
Yes.
So why did you have a problem with the case against Esa Baji proceeding?
Because the thing was changed. And the changes that took place was not correct.
Can you tell us what was changed? We want the commission to understand what was the game that was being played. What was unlawful in that game? And how some of the players were rewarded and others punished.
We
want to understand the whole scheme.
And Silaba on ko bandi maudo teko sai ko tapalantejo.
Silaba happens to be a big criminal, a bandit, and somebody who is a mixer, who mixes things up.
He said Bandi, Sasai.
Bandi, yes.
That's what you said, isn't it? Could you say it again?
He said, that's what I said.
Those are your words. Silaba Samate, how was he a bandit and a criminal?
Silaba ko ya o yepti faring mbo so di Karaba shopping center o wadi dum no packetaji ni wadi hamoji joni ayaji yimbe be joni o mbo hollira wonde no ma ya jamme nambo oki drug pour yo o yeyi 20 tons o oki mbo drug yo yeyi ha pare o oki mbo IGP dum woni Jesus because Jesus on ma won makko no IGP
no darodon
okay.
Silaba went to the Karaba shopping center and decided to buy flour. After buying this flour, he prepared it and put it into small packets, just how they prepare drugs. And then this is the item that he prepared and which he said was the type of drug that they were selling. And saying that it was Esa Baji who gave him these drugs to sell.
No. He said the president gave him the drugs to sell and then gave him Esa Baji, the IGP, and the military police to assist in the disbursement of these drugs.
And
sell them to people.
Joni owi me fahalana fulbe. Joni owi kanko ko wi kon ko o farin ko fewni ko no wawno drug ni wi ko president jonnimo pour be jonna kala esa baji yimbe wobbe walla mo
esa baji yeso police ministry
yeso police abe
Nani Ovi, what I want to say here is the Silaba, he will tell people that it is the president who gave him this drug to sell. In order to do it, he gave him Jesus as the IGs to assist, as well as the military police, Sekabai and Kulite. So Kulite was to act in the absence of Sekabai, because there was a time Sekabai traveled, so Kulite was acting in his state. This is what he said. So now, si imbebe ngari, imbebe pudi ar, aya joni o wian mano how para, be pare o kola Jesus. So call Jesus. Jesus got the arat in full uniform IGP with the flag and the big official motto. Wara, so ari joni si benjodi madoen silaba na lo one day jom. I will translate that in English to help him, so that we go fast. So I'm speaking Fula or English. I'm not
now Johnny how do me pular kala
okay so imbe be ngari o wiya be wonde no ma ko ya jame ko to onoda Jesus he telephone then Jesus arat si Jesus ari wonay gardo on o taweta ke do haldata do Jesus de ko so ari joni o immoto do o yaha tonin joni aya wonde toni Jesus o do na yiya kono wandata ko haldata e Jesus so pare o aksa o wiam ay mi halani Jesus pour wonde no ma ana ari ko dum do chokruda so adani bayde ko mabbe garanta gay president mabbe poti walde pour min jeya dum do on tuma non Jesus ya to kadi o non Sekabai on yara
okay fatsela the plot that was being run was that Silaba told people that these drugs were given to him by the president, and he was also to be assisted by the IG, who happens to be Jesus at that time, plus other members of the security units. So when he discusses with somebody about selling of drugs, when that person comes, Silaba will call IG, who will also come sometimes in full uniform. He will get up, go and discuss with Esa Baji at a distance. The person will see him discussing with Esa. Then after that short discussion with Esa, Silaba will come back to the person. So Silaba Arijoni Kodumwate.
So actually, ontuma arani odon okumat, wande no ma koko hebi, ontuma oyaha, o adda kalis.
Then when Silaba comes back to the person who wants to buy this drug, then that person will believe, because he has already seen Silaba talking to the IG.
And the military police.
And the military police who were also there. So then Silaba will go and come with the money. He will, the person who wants to buy the drug will go and bring the money to Silaba.
So at the Kali Sohan, I Johnny Silaba, Andy Wononi ko bandi, or Jepta hen, or what a envelope, or Jepta go no what envelope, Johnny Puru Johnny Kadi or not the Jesus your military police or Purbeara.
Then after he takes the money from the person who wants to buy this drug, he will divide it, put some in one envelope and put some in the other envelope. Then he will call Jesus to come.
And the military police.
And the military police.
Johnny Sibengari han, Kadi or Dagdo Toyama Bedula, on the other, Hombo Yapi envelope or Hombo Okajumum, on Yadum.
When these people come, he will go away with them a little bit further from the person who came to buy the drugs. That person will see him handing over this envelope to the military police and also to Jesus.
Koni dum woni ha wodi Nigeria no bedido ben betini dum bayte be ngandi pambay pa habimbay gono do CMC
this is
be jehi be kalyani dum pambay woni on wadi gondo gay ko dum do o wi ta woni ya jame nambo okki drugs mo yeya te ko military police okki mo.
This is what was happening until there were two Nigerians who came to know what was going on. These two Nigerians decided to go to Pambai, who was at that time Kanko no CMC wana?
No, Omedi no one day. Omedi no one day.
Who was one time CMC. But at that time, when this was happening, he was not working with the police. But these two Nigerians decided to go to Pambai and report this matter to him.
Why did the Nigerians decide to go to Pambai to report?
Because mabe one day no ma dumdo ko hunde one day serious the president no inde de avec drug nawadi serious e mabbe no be mbiri so ko dum do takki fere ha bayti be ngandi pambay be mbi be jaha e mbanamo dum explain.
Yes,
okay.
Okay. The reason why these Nigerians decided to go to Pambai is that to name the president of the country to be selling drugs or giving people to sell drugs in his name is a very serious matter. So this is why these two Nigerians decided to go to Pambai and report this matter to him, because what they heard about the names that they were using, that it was the president who gave them this drug, was something very serious. This is why they went to Pambai. Mike.
Thank you. Was Silaba actually giving them drugs?
No, Silaba. Tigi on. Ngira ko kanko jonna no be drugs on.
O kata be drug ko onda hombo be weddo.
What ko dum?
O kata be drug ko onda hombo be wala filling falam bo be weddo.
No, he was just fooling these people, you know, twisting and turning them. Yes.
Was he giving them anything?
Nda wodi ko jonna tabe?
Ay daga.
He doesn't give them anything.
What happened to the flour that he bought?
Joni on farin on ko hondu wadi on farin.
They dum do want the problem oya ko idum.
When this problem emerged, he decided to go and destroy all those flour bags.
But was he giving some of his customers flowers, making them believe that, flour, making them believe that this was in fact drugs?
Nda be kiliano be makonda wodi wo mabbe mo jonna be o farin pour ben holo wonda mako drug oni be jonde.
My memory serves me well. I don't think so. If
I can remember properly, I don't think he was doing that.
We have the report,
yes.
So we would let you see the report later.
I think this is a
convenient time to stop for the lunch break. Let's stop it here, and then we'll continue when we come back.
Well, certainly a good time to break here. Bandits, Tapale, Pilimpalang. What is it? Well, anyway, we'll take one lunch break and then come back at 3 o'clock. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.